Still just the three of us right now.
Yeah.
Hello, welcome everybody to Mindset College, our second webinar. Just going to wait for everybody to come on and log on. '26.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Just give it another few seconds.
Yeah. People can join us as we go along.
All right. Take it away.
Okay, well, I think we'll make a start. So welcome, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm Ralph Clark, and I'm here with my co-founder and Mindset College tutor, David Samuel.
Hi, everybody. Great to be here. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, this is our second webinar. This one's entitled The Three Problem Machine and the Solutions. David and I are very excited about delivering this. And before I hand you over to Dave, I was looking at the list of the attendees, the audience, and we have some really talented coaches, college coaches, and student athletes. And I do believe that Mindset College will be able to help with all those situations in the next 30 minutes, but also in the future. So I'm now going to hand over to Dave, and I will see you all again in the Q&A at the end. Please enjoy.
Thanks a lot, Ralph. So let's hit it. Just a little bit of housekeeping first. As you go along, if you think of a question, just post it in the chat, because we will get to questions afterwards. And also, if you're not totally familiar with Zoom, if you can see where my mouse is, you've got three little blocks, like a minus sign, a solid block, and two like an equal sign. You can adjust what you see by changing those blocks. So today I'm going to introduce you to a new way of thinking that will support you in handling the many problems that sometimes undercut your mission and your success. And we're going to learn to turn them around with a quick and simple solution. We also have a special guest later in the program who you'll not want to miss. He's got a fantastic story to share, and you really will want to see that. So this webinar is for you if sometimes external problems overwhelm you and crush your confidence, or if you feel that, very often you perform below your potential. And a very common problem is constantly overthinking things and feel that no matter how hard you work, it won't make the difference that you desire. This is for you if you think that problems are the problem. So why should you listen to me? Well, I've been on the tour for over 30 years. I've helped dozens of athletes in several sports realize their dreams, including a Wimbledon champion. I've taken several players from no ranking to Wimbledon, both international juniors into junior Wimbledon and into the late stages of Wimbledon, including a couple of finals, and also in the actual main event. In my private practice, I've helped lawyers, entrepreneurs, and teams succeed through shifts in mindset. And I absolutely love coaching. And I want to share with you some gems that whoever you are, you can add to your tool bag. And especially if you're a coach, pass these on to your athletes. Also, I know the pain and frustration because, sport is very, very tough. And as a top junior and played in college and pro tennis, I know the hurt that this journey can cause. And the bottom line is, at a very high level of sport, there are so many lows and far more than highs. But what we all know is that the highs, wow, when they come, they are so, so worth it. And so my compelling mission is to share what I've learned and experienced with many more athletes and coaches, other than the small number of people who have thus far crossed my path. I want to prevent unnecessary mistakes that I know small shifts and reframes in the mind lead to dramatic transformation of results. I really care deeply that mindset training ought to be part of normal school education. But failing that, my mission is to help as many people as I can, starting with athletes and coaches who are already driven to excellence. Here's what we're going to do together today. We're going to rise to the challenge. I'm not going to lecture you. I'm going to share stories and perceptions and let you incorporate whatever good stuff that you take out of it and that resonates with you and can help you personally. And I know I'm going to share some really cool stuff about how you can think about problems. At the end of this, I will make you an offer, but before that, I'm going to just give you everything that I have, and so hopefully you will learn a ton today. So, introducing Mindset College. It's a system that will transform your mindset so that you can win more. Mindset College consists of 14 training modules. Today, we're going to cover one of them. We're going to learn about the 3 problem machines and a solution. I hope to inspire you to take a small step forward in your journey to mental toughness and a resilience as a competitor. What does your view of problems cause you to feel? Frustrated, overwhelmed, angry, hard done by? Feel like your efforts are a waste of time? Scared, helpless, not good or strong enough? Frozen sometimes and wanting to hide from the world? What have these feelings cost you? And what are we trying to achieve today? A fresh approach, a reframing of problems, putting problems in their rightful place. Start facing up to problems in a different way and give you some tools to handle most challenges. And let's not pretend that every single problem is soluble. That's just not true. But I tell you what you can do is if you transform the machine in your head, wow. So let's get started. Have you ever considered that problems are a sign of success and actually your friend? We're so used to hearing, face up to problems. And I know what you're thinking. How can problems be a sign of success and my best friend? Well, what if I told you that they can? Introducing 3 problem machines. The life problem machine, the sport or work problem machine, and the personal head problem machine. Let's face it, most days life is going to throw you some shit. Whatever sport or job you do, it's going to throw you even more problems. This is never going to end. These are problem machines. Added to that, the machine in your head gathers up these problems, often linking them together to create bigger and seemingly insurmountable or more problems. Control of the problem machine in your head. Wow, this is so important. And I'm going to show you a great way where you can change this problem machine and get amazing results. And why linking problems is a problem. So I'm going to tell you a story now about the head problem machine. So about 6 years ago, one of the players that I work with came to us, and he was 750 in the world, struggling. And, you know, we did a little bit of work, and then he went out to play some futures. And all I said to him is, you know, after each match, email me back with a quick synopsis of the match and the things that you feel like you could have done better and anything that you had learned from the match. And he used to write back essays. I mean, just essays and essays. And I just remember that maybe it was the second or third one. It was really, really amusing. He said, I woke up in the morning, I just wasn't feeling great. And when I warmed up, I just didn't feel like I was timing the ball very well. And then when I walked on the court, the umpire, I mean, I know this guy, and he absolutely hates me. So I knew I had a problem on my hands right there. And to top it all off, I lost the toss, which I hadn't lost in a number of matches. Anyway, he holds serve, and I go around the other side, and I'm down break point 30-40, hit a really good serve. Guy hits a decent return. I put a really good volley into the forehand court, and he runs it down, and almost at full stretch, okay, he absolutely laces a perfect down the line passing shot that lands plumb on the line. And I knew then that this was just not my day. So at 2-love down, he's done. This player had a remarkable quality of linking every single little problem together and knitting them together in a way that made it impossible for him to win. So unless the moon and the stars and the sun were perfectly aligned on the day, he struggled to play his best tennis. Luckily, we did a lot of work on this, and he started to get it right. And as we speak now, he's top 40 in the world. And he no longer links problems. Now contrast that with a guy called Jim Marshall, who played for the Minnesota Vikings. He happened to find himself looking at the ball loose on the floor, picks it up and runs it through to the end zone, goes to celebrate this amazing touchdown when he realizes that he's run to the wrong side of the field and he scored a touchdown for the San Francisco 49ers. At halftime, he said, I was sitting there and I thought, I can wallow in my misery having made one of the biggest faux pas in American football history in front of millions of people on television in a full stadium, or I can play the best second half that I've ever played in my life. He went out and played the best second half of his life, and they won the game. Totally different mindset. He didn't link what happened in the first half to what was going to happen in the second half. So the takeaway number one is start to see problems in isolation. The big idea here is because problems follow each other does not mean they are linked. The machine in your head links them. Here is one of the greatest competitors of all time, Jimmy Connors, and he had a genius of a mother. When he was 14, she sat him down after he had lost a really, really tough match and said, Jimmy, you're never going to lose another match in your career. And he looked at her like, are you crazy? Of course I'm going to lose a match and lots of matches. She said, no, not you. They said, what do you mean? She said, Jimmy, from now on, You're either going to win matches or you're going to run out of time before you solve the problem. Shoot forward a number of years to 1983, and between 1983 and 1986, he lost 11 straight matches to John McEnroe. But he beat him in the 12th match, the Canadian Open. And he said to the press, I told you guys I would solve the problem of John McEnroe. And the quote here I love to the right is, tennis was never work for me. Tennis was fun. And the tougher the battle, the longer the match, the more fun I had. What an incredible attitude was instilled into his mindset. Basically, emotions cause you to link problems. You need to make a break. Yes, the emotion can come. Yes, you can start to link the problems, but then you need to think logically. Just because you warm up badly doesn't mean you're going to play badly. You know, because we all know you can warm up great and play badly. You can warm up bad and play great. You don't have to link any of these things. And Jimmy Connors learned to never link the losses either, which was fantastic, and why he could lose 11 straight to the same player and come back and still win, still believe that he was gonna solve the problem. So stop the emotional reaction that starts a negative spiral. Takeaway number 2 is stop wishing problems away. See problems for what they are. Every day you wake up, life and sport will keep churning out problems. It'll never stop. Alter the machine in your head so you stop linking problems and failures, and things change. I'm now going to introduce you to our special guest, Marius Barnard. As you can see, he's been on the tour for 13 years. He beat 6 world number ones. Here are some of them. He won 6 tour titles and made the quarters of 2 Grand Slams. You know, he's managed and coached for many years, and he's doing a great job as a life coach and international speaker. So Marius, welcome to the webinar, and please share your story with everybody who's here.
Thanks, Dave, and welcome to everybody. Yeah, I had a story, and it links in quite well with Dave's problem-solving stories. As a youngster, I belonged to a club, and I had some really tough competitors. So I always struggled to get to the later rounds of tournaments. I grew up with David Nankin, who last year was in the Davis Cup coaching team, Pete Norville, who won silver at the Barcelona Olympics, and it was always a struggle to beat these guys and get to the later rounds of tournaments. But I persevered, and when I was a teenager, I played against a guy called David Adams, who became my sort of arch enemy. Whenever I went to a tournament, he was there, and he was a really tough competitor. We had some big battles, and I played in the Interprovincial, which was quite a big team tournament. And on that particular day, David just did not give up. I walked off the court 2 hours later, having had 17 match points, still lost the match. This sort of compares to the story Dave told, and after lunch we actually came back and won the mix, but this left a lasting memory for me, and I knew that I had to change something. That was actually probably the catalyst for me studying psychology later on, because I just thought I had to solve this problem. And it was not like today when you can Google an answer, or we didn't have Mindset College to figure our problems out. I basically went down to the library and tried to find a book to help me with this problem. It was how to finish off those big points. And eventually, amongst other things, I decided that 1 point at a time had to become the way that I was going to move forward and play these big points. So years went on, and a lot of visualizing, a lot of training, and I played David Adams again, this time in the finals of the Kremlin Cup. And and I'm playing with my partner. We're in the tiebreaker in the third set. I hit a great return. I rip it down to the feet, and they make the error. And I turned to my partner and I said, "Come on, next point." And my partner runs up to me, jumps into my arms, and he says, "We've won." And I was so focused that I didn't realize we've won the Kremlin Cup. So that 1 point at a time really helped me at that point. But as Dave said, you get lots of problems. And as your career goes on, I had another incident years later when I booked my tickets to New Zealand and Australia with my wife, and we flew off to South Africa for pre-season training. And I played a charity cricket match, and I fractured my hand. When I saw the doctor, he said, 6 weeks, no play. And I was devastated. Air tickets, about $8,000 down the drain. We had to go back to Europe. And 5-6 weeks later, I started training, little hits. My hand was still in quite a lot of pain, but I really made sure I hit the middle of the racket. The next week, I played my first tournament, and that didn't go down so well, but it was started improving. And a week later, I won a challenger. Then the next week, I arrive in Rotterdam, and I get a call from none other than David Adams. He said, "Do you want to play the doubles?" And I said, "Sure, I'll play." And we had to qualify. So we lost in the final round of qualifying, got in as lucky losers, and we won the tournament. Now, this is 8 weeks after I fractured my hand. So in that time, I really focused differently. I concentrated differently, all because of this problem that I had to overcome. So the lessons for me in this is, first of all, there's a lot of losing before you solve your problems. Second of all, your rivals, your arch rivals, galvanizes you. So, the better they are, the bigger the problem, the better you become. And the third thing is, don't make it personal. Learn to enjoy the battle. Enjoy solving that problem of the big battle on the court. So, Dave, that ties in quite nicely with your stories, and I hope you enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
And you can take it on from now.
Thanks very much, Marius. Great stories, and we've known each other a long time. We actually did some work together towards the end of Marius's career, and it was always a pleasure, and it's great to have you on the webinar. Thanks a lot.
And I'll stick around for the Q&A at the end.
Yes, any questions, please bang them in the chat. So, as we go on, takeaway number 3, resistance is good. You just heard Marius say so. The better you get, the higher you climb, the more successful you become. Let's think about that. You will face more resistance. In fact, John McEnroe said it best. He said, "The biggest mountain I had to climb was to go from number 2 in the world to number 1 in the world." And it's absolutely obvious that, the higher you get, the more resistance you're going to face. It's the same in the gym. The stronger you get, the more, you can lift. But that weight is still very, very heavy. Just because you've got stronger and can lift it, doesn't mean that the weight isn't still very heavy. So you need to evolve into a different mindset. And know this, human beings love solving problems. Games, computer games. I mean, every computer game has levels, and people will fail and fail and fail again until they conquer the level, and eventually the whole game. And when they've conquered the whole game, they get bored with it, and the next thing has to come on the market to interest people. Puzzles and business and sports all fuel a fundamental need in the human being to solve problems. So that's why your problems are your friends. And these two guys on the left love problems. The curiosity of a challenge is what actually attracts you to so many things that you love to do. Richard Branson and Elon Musk. I mean, why do billionaires bring massive problems upon themselves? I mean, you know, Virgin Galactica, talking about space tourism, such a dangerous venture, you know, and it's taken them years, and they're years behind schedule. They've already lost a test pilot. You know, the risks are enormous, you know, but they will persevere with this. And it's a huge problem that Richard Branson brought upon himself. And Elon's desire to mine asteroids and colonize Mars, I mean, it kind of makes his day job of building electric cars, you know, seem trivial. But what they both know, and what all great competitors know, is you gotta love the process. You know, over the centuries, scientists and mathematicians spend their whole careers trying to solve problems, and often they never do. But on the back of their work, the next generations have a chance to solve them. So they had to love the process, because, you know, a lot of the problems weren't solved. So the mindset flip that you need to have is realizing that it's a process of solving problems is what we actually love. This here is a really, really important statement. Focus on the game of solving the problem rather than the damage it can cause you. Just want to take a moment for you to let that sink in. Focus on the game of solving the problem rather than the damage it can cause you. Your mind will begin to automatically evolve. The third problem-creating machine in your head becomes a problem-solving machine. I might use the other hand this time. Wishing life and work problems would stop is a pointless waste of energy. Altering your head machine, now that is gold dust. Once problems are seen as opportunities for growth, a friend that forces you to be better, just like the really good players that surrounded Marius forced him to get better. That changes you into a problem-solving machine. I'm a coach who's helped dozens of athletes and coaches reach their dreams. Let me help you. I know the journey, the tough times and the good. I'm not a tourist. I have the t-shirt. Step out and get yours. How good will it feel when you know that you're on the right track with Mindset College? Feel confident sharing your talents and skills with the world, whether you're an athlete or a coach. Achieve the success that you deserve without the need to scare yourself senseless about the size of the task. The bigger the task, the better you are doing. How much time and money is spent on physical skills and training, when every champion will tell you that it is the mind that makes the big difference? Now, I'm not saying that high-level skill is not a major part of being a success, but you can have the best skill in the world, and I've said this many times before to players. If I took Roger Federer's head or Rafa Nadal's head and put it on your body, and these are talented athletes, where do you think they'd be ranked? And they understand very, very high, maybe number one. But if I took your head and put it on their body, where would you be ranked? And the reality is very close to where they're ranked now. And when they start to understand that it's this that has to change when they have the skill levels, that's incredibly important. So for as little as 2 hours a week, change your mindset. Even if you tried all sorts of books, courses, and programs, I can tell you Mindset College will work. And after years of world-class competition, I've developed Mindset College, and it's designed for athletes and coaches. Yet it works in all walks of life. So what's included in Mindset College? Well, there are the live coaching modules covering comparison, confrontation, self-communication, change cycles, routines, and so much more. It'll cover every aspect of mentality. And you'll get a bonus one-to-one with me. You also become part of the Facebook group where weekly we will answer questions live and provide you with extra advice, accountability. We've got lots and lots of other material to dive into in this group. So there's no more guessing and struggling with results not matching your potential. Putting work in, being dedicated, but on paper not being where you should be, feels sometimes like that time is being wasted. And if you can hack this, you waste less time. No more letting of situations beyond your control making you feel like you're going backwards. Of course, we've all heard a lot about mental toughness training. However, we all know it's a lot harder to apply to yourself. So why not let Mindset College get you the results you desire and more quickly? Would you like to feel more confident and win more? Or get higher up the rankings? Have an edge over the competition? Feel good about yourself as an athlete, a coach, and as a person? Our promise is we will make this journey to your success together and give you all the knowledge that we have. Join us and become part of an inner circle of support. Your problems are not unique. Every athlete often thinks that their problem is worse or different from others. I promise you, it is rare that anybody presents to me a problem that I've not heard before. And there are ways of dealing with these problems, and they are not unique. Everybody has to overcome them. If you're wondering how you will afford this, we're not going to charge you $12,000. Mindset College is a tenth of that with 10 times the value. And if you want to dip your toe in the water, we have an amazing offer on a starter semester. And what does the starter semester give you? The coaching, 3 modules, tools, community for a special offer price of just $199. And the link will be in the chat box. The full membership is the 12 modules plus the recorded ones, and just for 12 payments of $99 per month. And again, you can sign up. This offer ends on Wednesday. So you really only have 3 options at this point. You can decide to do nothing, hoping to crack the mental toughness code for yourself. But we both know if you do nothing, that is pretty much a one-way ticket to nowhere. Or you can buy the Locker Room Power book. It might work. But let's just think about this. Even if it's better than what you're doing, surely better isn't good enough for you. Have the Mindset College team behind you. You don't need to be alone. Add experts to your team. A safe space where you can share your struggles. Coaches and people who really know the journey. People that you can share the ups and downs with and will encourage you and make you accountable to your goals. And before we go to questions, let me leave you with this thought. I know you will be more successful, tougher, and confident if you say yes. So there it is again. This is where you sign up, and it's in the chat room, in the chat box. And we're now going to open it up for questions. Marius, Ralph will join us, and we're just going to get into the Q&A. Let's see what we got here. Barry Cowan, thank you very much.
Hello, Barry.
Parry knows me very well. I was his coach, and he did amazing things as a tennis player. None other than the great 5-set match against Pete Sampras at Wimbledon. He asks, junior tennis is rife with players pulling out to protect their ranking, rating, etc. How can you solve this problem? Because if you run away at a young age, it's only going to get worse. I mean, I think this webinar answers that question, is that, you know, it's so important that parents, like Jimmy Connors' mother, understand that running away and trying to massage the system to get rankings higher and trying to cheat the system just doesn't help the player in the long run. You know, the great thing I love about sport is it's totally meritocratic. When you get out there on the field, on the court, wherever you are, you know, you have to perform. It's up to you. You've got to do it. And you can't hide away from that, you know, forever. It's impossible. And, you know, that's what I also love about sport, is you cannot buy success. You know, sure, money can buy you a lot of opportunities, but if the mind is not right to take those opportunities, trust me, it will not work. So just like Marius had to take on, you know, better and better players, and had better players in front of him to chase, just go and play as many matches, just get as much experience, win, lose as much as you can. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I've got a couple in the chat box there, Dave.
Right. Can you, let me just get the chat box or the Q&A up. Or,
is the program good for teams, is one of the questions.
Yes, absolutely. I think, you know, individually, if you go through this program, I think it'll help you, you know, if you're managing a team or coaching a team, definitely. But if you want us to work together with the leadership of a team and with the team, then please contact us, because, you know, every team culture and environment is so individual. And, you know, you really need to go through a cultural diagnostic tool that we have, and an awareness of it. We need to be totally aware of what your situation is, so that we can really put together a boutique program for a team and the leadership.
You've done some work with Bolton Wanderers football team, and you've helped the England rugby team as well. I don't know if people are aware of that, but these are the teams that Dave's worked with before. So yeah, you can definitely help teams.
Yes, and you know, as I said in my private mentoring as well, I'm helping people in all walks of life. But yes, it's fantastic for teams, but it needs to be personalized to the specific teams and for the sport as well. So there's a lot of fact finding before we just dive in and work with a sport. I remember with Fulham, we did so much work on when Mark Hughes was there in setting up the program, that we actually came out with a booklet for the players before we even presented to them. So that was good. So we got Chris here. Can you give any advice on how to prioritize the problems you're facing in sport or career? Anybody want to jump in here, or shall I carry on?
Go for it, Dave.
Yeah, carry on, Dave.
I think, again, this is very, very individual, because, you know, the problems are also very much linked to what your goals are. You know, so, you know, you can have a big problem that doesn't really matter, you know, in your sporting life, but matters for another part of your life. So, you know, prioritizing, you know, and really, if you think about the world right now, you know, there's a hell of a lot of problems, but there's one big problem that everybody's prioritizing, you know. So I think I'd love to give you a definitive answer there. What I would say, it's always important to write them down. Write down your problems and then look at them and see, you know, how big they are in your mind, and also analyze whether you're actually not linking 2 or 3 of the problems together to make them bigger than they are. And maybe if you unlink them, a priority order will fall into place.
I think the key thing there is probably if you find out your purpose, you know, in whatever walk of life you are or sport, if you can find that purpose, then you can work your way back to the problem that's probably the most important to you. And I know on a daily basis, sometimes we don't prioritize the really big problem because, you know, that can wait. We sometimes get ourselves, you know, linked to the problem that I need to do now, the urgent thing, rather than actually that more long-term problem. We need to make time to address that as well. Yeah. So yeah, there is that sort of what is urgent and what is necessary. But if you find your purpose and what you're really trying to achieve, then you can do your long-term planning and sort that long-term problem out.
Correct. And we got Enrique here, very good, Marius. What do you think about the new generations with all social media distractions and the easier way of life? They want to become a great player without doing whatever it takes. What is your advice?
Great question.
Great question. And wow. I mean, on the tour, coaches talk about this all the time. You know, it's very interesting. Like Novak at a Grand Slam does not carry a phone. He does not carry one. I very rarely see Rafa and Roger ever on a phone. So that kind of gives a bit of a clue. But it is, the world is a different place. And as coaches, we have to try and encourage our players to do what's important first before they do all of that stuff. But I have a theory that this is one of the reasons why, you know, the new generations are struggling so hard to take over the number 1 and 2 mantle from the big 3. Because I do believe that, especially over 5 sets, that with all of the distractions, their minds cannot focus as well for as long a period. And I think a guy like Dominic Thiem maybe is starting to understand that. And I guarantee, and I haven't spoken to him about it, but I guarantee that the way he's operating now is quite different from maybe 18 months ago, because he seems to be moving in that direction. I think some of the younger generation are starting to understand how important it is to really focus on the job at hand, whether in the gym or on the track or on the court, without keep going back to their phone in between every exercise. But yeah, great question. And is there a definitive answer? I don't know, but I just, giving you the benefit of my gut feeling. Thanks, Chris. Could you talk more about what is included in the main package and what you could expect from the program? Is there personalized planning and actionable plans? It covers a wide range of topics, as I said, and on your one-to-one with me, we will dig in with some depth into what your personal situation is. And around that, I will help you use the information that you're getting that best suits you. So yes, obviously it is not pure one-to-one, but in that first session, which is incredibly important, we will establish what's really important for you and how you can best get the best out of the program. And also you can, message us at any time and with questions, and obviously we'll be coming back to you with personalized answers to those questions. I don't want to go into full detail now about the course because I think we've got more questions to answer. I think I saw one earlier.
There's one there on, is your approach to mindset built on a particular model or theory, or is it more based on experience?
It's difficult to say exactly. I mean, I've read so much about psychology. I have obviously a lot of experience and practical experience, which, you know, applying psychology is different from just knowing it. But I also have a diploma in mentoring. So I've done a lot of study and I know a lot of theory. You know, a lot of it came together in my book, Locker Room Power, which is really my philosophy. And Mindset College is really the next step in taking a lot of those concepts and making it very, very actionable for people. So I hope that answers your question.
And I think also what sorry there, guys. I think probably the other point there is, Dave, that when you're talking about an individual player, and it doesn't matter what sport it is, it's very individual. And that, therefore, you have to apply what you know about psychology and what you know through experience. You have to apply that to the specific person.
Absolutely.
And therefore, you know, sometimes what's worked really well for me is something that I've never tried on somebody else. But because of the circumstances, because of the particular case that you're dealing with, you try something, and that's based on experience partly and all the knowledge you have and the theory that you've read.
Yeah, I
so
mean,
it's a blend of all of that.
Yeah, I mean, the crazy thing is there's not one problem that's unique, but the application and the solving of the problem is often and is nearly always completely unique to the individual.
Yeah.
The same thing goes for teams. You know, the culture that works for one team and environment will not work for another team and environment, because culture environment is so much about the personality of the leadership. And, you know, no two personalities are the same. So, you know, you can take aspects of the New England Patriots, but you cannot reproduce the New England Patriots because the personnel, you know, delivering that environment are not the same. So whatever environment you have is created by the individuals involved, and it will always be unique.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, shall we wrap it up there? If there's no more questions, we will say thank you. I think, is there any more in the Q&A there? Sorry, I'm gonna...
Yes, a couple in the Q&A.
Go for it. Can you read them for me?
Yeah. Anonymous one. What's the most important part of the mental side to become a top professional?
I mean, I'll give one word there: resilience. It's a long marathon, and you're going to have to find a lot of solutions along the way. And there won't be other, you know, there'll be other really important things, but if you're not resilient, you've got no chance.
So that's about the ability to bounce back and to adapt to whatever problem's getting thrown at you.
At the end of the program, do I get a certificate? Absolutely. Most top athletes live in a bubble. Do you think that top athletes will come back better after COVID, even though they wouldn't have competed? I think some will and some won't. I think, like always, big challenges tend to separate, you know, the strong minds from the weaker ones. So I believe the stronger ones will reflect more and have more time out, maybe in the open air, and time to think, and will come back stronger. But I don't believe that all will.
I just on that point.
And start coming back. If so, what? I think I've kind of answered that question a little bit. I do really hope on a bigger scale that all the different parties, and you've heard, Federer and a lot of players talking about, making one association and bringing tennis much more together. I think the reflection that's going on now, I really hope will bring out a more equitable tour, and also that tennis will work together to make the sport stronger, rather than having the infighting that takes the focus off the ball of actually making tennis a better sport. But I think all sports are going through this, and I think some will emerge very strong, and some will find themselves a long way behind. And again, that comes to the leadership and how good they are at thinking outside the box and actually opening themselves up to really, really new ideas.
Dave, I'm just going to go, just a question before, might be interesting a little bit. The question of coming back. I found in my career that probably 3 or 4 times I can pinpoint when I had a big setback and I had to take time out for one reason or another. And it was just peculiar how my results improved after that period. So, it's a sort of a change of mindset. It's a rethink. And so, yeah, I can definitely agree that some people will come out stronger with this break, even though the break is so long. So I agree with that.
I suppose the question is, will I come out a stronger coach?
I think so.
Good. I think that's all of them, isn't it? Oh, there's a couple more. No,
a couple more.
No, that's it.
Yeah, we've got what percentage of tennis is psychological? I would say this: at every level, it's almost entirely psychological. But you can't say that it's all in the mind, because if you're ranked 500 in the world, you need to get a lot better as a tennis player. But at whatever level you're at, if you're a good club player, it'll be all in the mind, with your fellow club competitors. So yeah, I'd say it's very much in the mind. But if you conquer a level sort of mentally, and you're really winning most of the time at a certain level, and you go up a level, you'll find that you probably have to get better as a player and improve your skills to live at the new level. And once you have those skills, your mind will have to also develop further to deal with the bigger problems that the new level is going to give you. Do you think is there a short period of time between suddenly becoming really good and have a successful jumping up the rankings? It's very rarely a short level of time, but improvement tends to kind of go like this and like this, and then there's a spike, and then you hit a new level. The problems, and the resistance you face is more, and then sometimes there can be a little dip. So it's kind of like a spike, and then another spike. So periods of time, it's very difficult to predict. But yes, if you get things right here and things fall into place, there can be a quick spike, and then usually there's a leveling off again, or even a slight drop before you go again. What change have you made in your approach to coaching since smartphones were introduced and every kid has one? Anonymous, how long do I think the spell will last for? Your guess is as good as mine, as anybody's. Hopefully it starts easing by at least June. That's what I'm hoping for. The approach, well, certainly in practice sessions, no phones allowed until after the session. Just talk to them, try to educate them. Because, obviously phones bring a lot of good things with them as well. It's easy to message people and keep in contact and coach on the road with phones. But yes, you have to have some guidelines and rules that you put in place for kids.
There's one question there, Dave. Do you think there's also a dark side to mental toughness? Can an athlete push themselves too far with a possible detriment to their mental well-being? And I've just done a course on this in the last couple of weeks. And I definitely think, yeah, people can push them too far. So they need to have that balance. They need to have a real balanced view about things, because I don't know if you've had any experience of players who've gone over edge.
I mean, there is a story of an athlete who I was incredibly concerned about, two actually, in fact, who became so obsessed with the sport and coming back from injury that it kind of got to the point where it seemed like life wasn't worth living unless they could play tennis again. And this person, I got them, clinical help to help them through it. So yes, I don't think it's mental toughness. Well, is a dark side. I think it's just when someone's desire is so high and they really are knocking themselves out to do great things, when maybe it's not possible with the injury that they've sustained and coming back with. And it'll be interesting to see someone like Andy Murray, who's incredibly driven. If he cannot come back to the level that he'd like to be, how that's going to affect his mind if he gets obsessed with trying to find a solution for which there might not be a solution.
Yeah, I think I've worked with a player on this recently, but I think the important thing is that your own self-worth should not depend on winning tennis matches or in any sport. You should be a person, and your self-worth, you should be balanced and happy with that. And that should not depend on whether you're winning matches or whether you're performing great in a sport. I mean, that is something else. You need to have that balance.
Very true. I mean, the bottom line is every pro athlete becomes an ex-pro, and you have to live with that. So if you are not happy in yourself, and it's purely the sport that gives you any joy in your life, when that sport finally ends for you at the highest level, it's very well known, 70% of Olympic medalists, gold medalists, suffer some kind of depression after they've won the gold, because it's kind of like, what's next? And all this time and routine, especially if they retire after it, has to be put into something else. They've got to find something else to motivate them. And and there's I think Pat Cash spoke about it. He felt very down after the initial elation of winning Wimbledon. It's kind of like, what next? Wake up in the morning, I'm a Wimbledon champion. I've kind of done what I wanted to do, and you have to find something else in your life that you can at least get passionate about again.
Yeah, because I think all as athletes we're all obsessive to a point, aren't we? Because you
have to be. I mean,
you can't make the level otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, becoming a top athlete is, it is so labor intensive. It is so much work. It is so much focus over years and years. It is very, very difficult to divorce yourself from that. And I always, and I went through it myself, and I'm sure, Marius, you can speak with this as well. It's almost like you have to go through a year of mourning after you quit playing, you know, that there's a year where it's like, you know, it really does feel like morning that, you know, you have to get used to.
I was kind of ready when I retired at 33. So, but you know, then Federer came along and moved the goalposts. But I think the important thing is, you know, when you're playing, you're going to get to a stage where you want to finish. But the thing is that drives you through those years. You know, you might look back and think that those were sacrifices, but you enjoy that journey. You enjoy the challenge. And so you don't really see those as sacrifices because you're so involved in it, and you enjoy the next challenge. And so, yeah, it is a lot of sacrifices, but as a youngster, I didn't see it as sacrifices. I just saw it as something that keeps me going. And so keeping the fun element in there, I think, is really important.
Yeah. What's the biggest thing to help motivation in this period? I will say this: planning. Number one, you got to plan your weeks, plan your days. If you do not have a plan of what you're going to do, what you got to get up for, and when you're going to do things, days and days can drift by with Netflix. You know, you've got to have a plan. And then the second thing is, you know, remember why you're doing things, you know, and the fact that maybe there are other athletes who are maybe not planning and not being effective with their time. And when you come back, you will, you know, have maybe jumped a level because of the work that you've done. And of course, in this period, you come on like you have today, webinars, you know, there's a lot of good stuff around for you to listen to and to really think about your own mindset and getting it right. Obviously the physical stuff, you have to become very inventive in how you train. If you don't have access to gym or track, you have to do a lot of stuff in fields or you know, any open spaces or even on the road. So I think you need to be very inventive and give yourself projects. You know, I'm going to do this by then, you know, and these are really crucial things to do.
And yeah, there's a lot of time for visualizing.
Yeah,
get good at visualizing and all these other activities that you can do on the mental side. These are things where you can get ahead of your peers in this period.
We're going to wrap it up now, but I think anybody who stayed on, thank you very much. I think this kind of gives you an example of what, you know, a Facebook Live with us is going to be like. I will, you know, always get a lot of guests on. So Mindset College, you know, will become a very, very strong community. And, you know, we will put in the time, you know, to answer your questions. And obviously you'll be able to talk one-to-one as well in these groups. We've got a chat question here. Thank you all. That was really interesting. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. Stay safe, be well, and we look forward to seeing you in Mindset College. Take care.
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Thank you, Rob. All the best.